Hey guys, this is Brittany. This is Math Host for Module 5. I cannot believe it is this late in the semester. We have a whole lot of theories and everything to cover, so I just want to go ahead and jump in. The first one is going to be the borderland theory. That was in the final chapter of the identity development of college students. And basically just kind of mesh the critical race theory, queer theory, intersectionality theories all together. So I really tend to gear toward the fluid models of fluidity. They're really focused not so much on stages, not so much as getting here, here, and here, or really weaving out of one particular stage, but really just seeing that a identity can be really fluid and can really only be addressed in so much as a particular time frame. I just really feel, personally, I connect better with those. And yet this one was so very complex, and even addressed in the textbook as something that may not be entirely helpful, because when you merge all of those amazing theories together, arguably what makes them so effective kind of becomes muddled out, or muddied in a way, where it's not so much focused on, and so you can't really, base much on what you do get. And what you do look at for the different models that they had off of the multiple dimensions of identity model, they had 5 different graphs or models, all from 5 different students, and I really did appreciate looking at these models and really finding something that really addressed everyone as a whole, all of the identities together and how they work together, but just thought maybe that it was a little bit too much, as the textbook kind of referred to before it showed the graphs, that you really, putting attention to an identity in itself. Yes, you're going to have the critique of you're just looking at that one part of the identity, and other parts of the identity move with that, against it, for it, to make that person, but at the same time it's just so complex and so hard to study with the borderland theory, that it just does make one question, how we can address students holistically, but at the same time address each part of their identity when we have such diversity in higher education. So it's definitely something that really prompted a lot of questions at the end of that text, and something that hopefully we will continue to learn about. The other pieces, I'm going to touch on the moral development, Gilligan's theory, mostly because Kohlberg's really disappointed me. I was reading and really appreciating, I know we mentioned Kohlberg earlier in the semester, and then with the disconnect with females, which given his time period is understandable, and with the minority status, as we discussed earlier in the semester, with females. I just felt more of a connection with Gilligan's theory, with the care versus justice. Being in higher education, I definitely understand the care status for women. Just really trying to care for and assist people as best of your ability. I did find it a little disappointing with the previous chapter that we just touched on with gender identity, with going masculinity versus femininity, that it was so just black and white, but did appreciate the fact that they mentioned that it is not maybe uniform for a worldview, so maybe not uniform for United States and for foreign countries, although it did seem from some of the studies that it did seem to apply. I really appreciated the spirituality mentioned throughout this module, namely within the Blackboard readings, the additional readings. 2 of the ones that I found really interesting were the Working with Jewish Undergraduates by Blumenfield and Klein, and the Invisible, Marginalized, and Stigmatized: Understanding and Addressing the Needs of Atheist Students by Goodman and Mueller. I really appreciated these because as someone who has kind of, fought with her spirituality throughout adolescence, but really come into, I feel comfortable with my spirituality as an adult, I've always really felt that spirituality, religion, however one person defines that part of their identity or does not define their identity, is an extremely personal experience. So I don't feel like it's one that I have any means of coming in for anyone, and then kind of saying you should believe this or you shouldn't believe that, or to judge them by that way. So I just really feel like it is one of the most extremely personal things that we can have. It's the most personal part of our identity that we can have. And so I really appreciated this insight. Just the mention of how Judaism is regarded as the religious identity. It can be regarded as the racial identity, and also as the ethnic identity. So seeing that merge, and yet it's so invisible. I mean, we don't look at someone and just automatically know, as with race, as if you could look at me and say white or female, just to look at someone and say Jewish. And so just the mention of that, and it also mentions the feeling majority if a person who identifies with being Jewish is white, and yet the minority with being Jewish. So it's just very, very interesting, and I also appreciated with the atheism, just mentioning that they have such negative stereotypes against them, even to the point where the one gentleman had to pull away from a job opportunity because it came out that he was atheist. Just the negative connotations there. So I just found it extremely interesting. And something that I definitely want to look into further. I just felt a little bit more of a connection to the moral development rather, just due to the fact that the care versus the justice. Although, like I said, with the critique, it was really black and white, and could definitely be benefited in some way from kind of additional text there and additional evidence, and really not trying to paint, the femininity versus masculinity whole thing again. But as this module comes to a close and the semester comes to a close, just really appreciated all of the insight, especially with both texts kind of ending, as you could say, in the way that they did. Just really addressing the issues that we have in higher education and what we're going to look forward to as we move forward. So I cannot wait to hear what you guys have to say for this module, and hope to hear from you guys soon. Thanks.